there guys, Tom here. Welcome back to my movie channel and thank you very much for joining me for this, my review of the brand new live-action Disney adaptation of Mulan, the movie that was supposed to come out in theaters. Its release date got bumped twice and now it's on Disney Plus for a premium price of $35. That's what I paid to watch it on Disney Plus, because I'm an idiot. And joining me for this review today is, of course, my friend James. It's so good to be able to be doing a review with someone else again now that we're out of lockdown. And I think the last time we reviewed a movie together was actually another Disney movie, Onward. So if you haven't seen that, go and check that out. So James, I throw it to you first. What did you think overall about Mulan?
Overall, it is an excellent B-grade movie that is reminiscent of a lot of the, I suppose, Chinese-inspired martial arts movies that we have seen over the years. It's not a bad movie by any means. In fact, I would actually recommend people to watch it and see for themselves. I found it personally quite funny, though I did find its Beach charm did take away from the story, as well as it was overall a bit... It was just shoved full of stuff. There were so many...
It's a movie full of stuff. That's great reviewing.
Well, we have multiple storylines, and it is quite a deviation from the original classic. Honestly, the animated film is much, much better, though this movie does have its charms nonetheless.
I think I agree with you. The movie, it's not as good as the original animated film. Here's my thing with this version of Mulan in particular. I really enjoyed this movie, actually. I found it quite entertaining. Like, I was never bored watching the film. I don't know how you felt, but I was certainly never bored. And, you know, we were commentating on it as it was going. So I get, you know, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the movie overall. The action in the movie I thought was actually really, really well done. It is a really well-directed movie, in my opinion. I think Nicky Caro, the director, did a great job of directing the film. My main issue or criticism with the movie is that at times the movie struggled, actually throughout the entire movie, I think it struggled with its identity. I think this movie had a bit of an identity issue in the fact that, you know, the movie tried to be, for the most part, it tried to be a more serious, grounded in reality kind of, you know, Chinese war film, which is really what I wanted from this remake. But then it also tried to be cheesy and, you know, funny, and a lot of the humor worked, but sometimes it got a little bit too cheesy, and it's like, are we going for cheese fantasy, or are we going for serious Chinese war movie? And so at times, you know, the movie sort of struggled with its identity in that sense. That was my main issue. The two didn't always work together. I don't know how you felt about that.
So overall, while I do agree, I think it was intended to be a particular hybrid. The character of Mushu has been removed in place of a phoenix, which does feel a little out of place. It actually made me think more of Harry Potter. I get why
they removed Mushu. Like, I get it, but I did feel you could feel him not...
You could feel the absence.
The absence of him. Or it was like, I just felt like you needed that, Mulan needed that companion, you know, throughout her journey, because she didn't have that. It was just like, almost like a solo journey for her.
Well, like, my full list of criticisms can be, while the music was good, and I do think the music was overall quite a good...
Oh, the score was awesome.
Good effect.
The score was awesome. They used that reflection song for the score in that one big battle scene, which we'll get to in a second. But yeah, sorry, go on.
I feel that the plot was let down by the fact that they probably had around 6 different storylines going at the same time.
Yes.
Which isn't a good thing for any movie. You should really focus on what it is that you want. Additionally, the character development is almost non-existent at certain points. There's little... there are character interactions, and they are actually quite amusing, and they can be quite heartfelt. Some of the scenes are actually really good. But with the lack of foreshadowing that the film does inherently have, repeatedly, many of these scenes are undone by virtue of not having any warning or anything to tell you that things may not be as they seem. There are so many scenes, and I'm not going to bring them up because
it
ends up being spoilers.
It's a little... I get what you're saying too, like it's a little confusing at times as to what's happening in the story. You know, there are certain moments where it's a flashback, but it's not really made clear that it's a flashback. So, look, I might just be an idiot. I mean, we all know I'm an idiot, but I might just be really stupid But I know I turned to you
yeah.
at one point and I'm like, what's happening here? And you said, I think it's a flashback. And then you realize that, oh yeah, it's a flashback. So, there are moments like that. But I did want to touch on something you said about character development. I don't think, even with our title character of Mulan, and especially with the rest of the supporting cast, there really isn't much character development. It's like, this is what the characters are, and they stay that way almost throughout the entire movie.
That was another problem, and this stems from the plot. The character of Mulan is more or less, and this is the problem with one of the storylines, she is taken as a prodigy, and she is so inherently skilled with chi. It's all about
Take
the
a
chi.
drink every time watching this movie. Play the drinking game. Take a drink every time they say the word chi, because it's said a lot throughout this film.
I was really hoping Tom wouldn't say that, because if half of you play this game, you will be dead by 30 minutes.
You'll be dead by 15 minutes. But I think they almost use chi like Star Wars uses the Force.
It was basically medieval Force. It was medieval Star Wars, basically.
Yeah.
With, in my opinion, better action. The action was actually really fun.
Let's talk about that. Like the main battle scene, you've seen it in the trailers a little bit, where she comes out and she's got the hair down and the red outfit,
or how she's throwing multiple characters literally throw curtains and use that as weapons to incapacitate people. I
thought it was I think this movie was really well directed overall. That scene in particular really got my blood, I would say blood pumping. Normally that means you're angry at it, but I was really pumped up watching that scene. I really enjoyed that scene. I thought it was fantastically directed. I thought it was, the actress who plays Mulan, I don't know her actual name, she did a great job throughout the movie, but that scene, that's my favorite scene in the movie. It is the best scene in the movie. It's a lot of fun. The action is well directed. It's not, there's not a lot of quick cut edits or shaky cam. You understand, you can see the action happening in front of you very well. So, that's my favorite scene in the movie in particular.
And on top of that, some of the action isn't actually communicated. So it actually leaves it up to the audience to make sense of what's actually happening. But there is a particular scene, which I will remind Tom of at the end of this film, which is actually very good, where Mulan actually manages to incapacitate a larger group of soldiers, a small army, by deceiving them, manipulating them. And but also on that note, the CGI is not great. This is a Disney film, and Disney are not known for their good CGI.
I disagree.
You do disagree?
It depends on the movie you're watching. Here's the thing. I don't think the CGI overall was bad. There are moments where you can tell that, okay, in one moment of this battle scene, they shot on a real practical location, and then in the next, bit in that scene, you can tell, oh, this was shot on a soundstage in front of a green screen because it looks like green screen.
Well, even what I was thinking of more is some of the action scenes, some of the more impressive scenes are very clearly computer generated.
Yes.
There's no way. They may look different on a bigger screen. I don't know. We had an incredibly difficult time getting this to work on a big TV.
we had. I just think it would look. I think this movie would look better on a cinema screen. To be honest with you, CGI always looks better on a bigger screen because that's what it was made to do.
So the action's actually very impressive, and it's very cheesy. The whole movie is cheesy. The final fight is cheesy.
The final. Here's the thing with the cheese, the cheese and the chi.
It never gets me to a point where I am genuinely feeling cringy at the movie.
No, I got cringy at it. I thought some of the cheesier moments, some of them worked. I'm not saying they all didn't work, but more of them didn't work than did work. And there are some really genuinely funny moments in this movie too, which surprised me. And I do think the movie did a good job. There are some scenes where they reference the animated movie, or where they take dialogue from the animated movie, or from, for example, the A Girl Worth Fighting For song. Instead of the song, because none of the songs are in the movie, they turn the song into part of the score, like they did with Reflections, or they took the Girl Worth Fighting For and they made it a scene where they're talking, and so they used some of those lyrics as just dialogue, which I thought worked really well. So there are those moments that work where I thought they paid the right amount of homage to the original animated, because my fear was that they were going to make this its own thing, which it should be, But my fear was that they were going to completely ignore the legacy of the animated movie that came before it.
Mm. And the animated film is, to the best of my memory, I haven't seen it in years. It is a great film. It is actually very, very well rounded.
It's fantastic. I reviewed it a couple of months ago, so check that out. Plug.
If I had to describe this movie, I think it's a good movie overall. I can see how some people would think it's a poor, weak movie.
I can totally see how people could hate this movie.
But I can also see how this would have a cult following, because it does have it's like a fusion of different elements. It's very much your Chinese fantasy martial arts movie. In my case, I was talking with Tom throughout a lot of it because it's just that kind of movie for me. It's actually very lighthearted, where you can get so sucked into scenes. There were several times in the combat where we were actually rewinding it because we wanted to see specific bits of choreography.
I don't want to give the scene away, but the line is he crying in a moment of this movie. We rewound that about 3 or 4 times. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. Like, it's on a streaming service, so I'm not really concerned about, you know, real spoilers. I mean, it's Mulan. You know the basic story of Mulan. So, but yeah, there's a line. I won't give it away because it's really funny. Is he crying? It is, I think, the funniest moment of the movie.
I think another one is because they use a very heavy amount of makeup and it's very apparent in some scenes. Mulan,
this is my happy face.
Actress for Mulan. Yep, they make a Kristen Stewart joke, as well as they comment on how even the fiercest of storms could not remove the makeup they use.
There's some really good humor. I think
it's very dry.
I think while the movie struggled with its identity as far as serious versus cheesy, and cheesy doesn't always mean, you know, bad humor. The movie did have, like, I think most of the humor worked.
I think if you're after a serious watch, you can do better than Mulan.
Yeah, for sure.
I think, at least in my opinion, I think it's the type of movie that you'll want to put on as a casual watch with a friend, so that you can talk, you can
laugh,
you can get wrapped up in the silly little nuances in this film. Because if you wanted to pick it apart, you could make a huge, huge essay on how this film has failed in so many areas. But the thing is, at the end of the day, it is still funny, and it still has had a lot of effort put into it.
And I said, I can see how someone else can watch this movie and go, no, that was total garbage. Like, I honestly don't know that I could argue that with anybody. But yeah, go on.
I don't think I could. And my final point is, and this is becoming an increasing issue in movies. This is an increasing issue in movies.
Not becoming, it is an issue in movies.
It doesn't feel token either. It's got some good actors, and while they're not A grade necessarily, in particular the worst actor in the entire movie.
Oh, one of the villains, the main they're called something else in this. They're called something else in this movie. The Rorans.
Yeah.
They're not the Huns. He was not good.
He was not good.
He was not. He was the one. He was like the one weak link in this movie as far as acting is concerned, where almost every line of dialogue out of his mouth, I'm like, dude, you think you're acting in a different movie than anybody else. I think he was going for full Disney dialogue kind of cringe, and either that or he's just not that good of an actor. I don't know, but I didn't like him in this movie.
Which is fair. I mean, I don't think most of the people in this film have really acted in anything significant before.
Well, Donnie Yen and the guy who plays Mulan's father, I've seen, like, Donnie Yen's great. And Mulan herself, I thought she was fantastic. And I want to make another point, too, about the violence in the movie, because...
That is worth mentioning, because this is a violent film.
It is. It's a lot more violent than you would think a Disney live-action adaptation of an animated movie would be.
It has the same issues, and this is something that people should be aware of. Many PG films, like this one, it has incredibly limited blood, but the violence is actually much higher. And this, like one of the old G.I. Joe live action films, there was a lot more violence without showing you the repercussions of it.
See, this shows repercussions.
It shows some,
Yes.
but not the gore, not the actual loss of life.
No, but I think the reason the violence feels more violent than it is in this movie is just because of the way that it's shot and the way that the action is staged.
Oh yeah, the choreography is actually
The choreography and
very
also
impressive.
the cinematography of those scenes made it feel more grounded and real, which is why you also get that identity problem when all of a sudden you go from grounded, real Chinese war film to cheesy Disney live action remake. And
Yeah.
you just have that, like, you know, really obvious contrast of two different themes or things in this movie where they don't work all the time. I don't know what word I was searching for there. But look, overall, like, I would recommend checking the movie out. I actually think, to me, it was worth paying the $30, even though they announced the other day that, well, if you wait until December, it'll just be on Disney Plus for everybody anyway, and you don't have to pay the premium fee to get it. But I'm an idiot, and I wanted to watch it now. So, there's that. So, James, let me ask you this. Do you think it's worth paying the $30 to watch it now? Or would you, if, like, let's say I didn't pay for it.
Look, how I would say it is, if you have a cinema, go to the cinema. Don't pay the $30.
Yeah.
Because that...
It will be a better experience.
It is. The $30 is genuinely a rip-off. Even if Disney were trying to recoup some of their losses because of COVID, they could have made it $15. They've also got Disney Plus, which is recouping their losses anyway. So I don't see how you can justify $35. That said, I know that some people will really enjoy it and some people will go nuts over this film. And it's really difficult for me to say whether I should recommend it to someone.
I think that will do it for this review of Mulan, unless James has any other points he really desperately wants to make. So, thank you guys for watching this review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that subscribe button, ring that notifications bell so you never miss out on my take on all things movies. Also, leave your comments down below and let us know what you thought of the Disney live-action Mulan. I'm very curious to hear. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you think about it? Jump down in the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. My name is Tom. That's my friend James. Thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you guys next time.